Welcome to the
YHELPful Podcast,
where we bridge the gap between teens and adults, discussing everyday life and current events.
Hey everyone, we are back with another episode of the YHELPful Podcast. This is William Bell III, and I'm going to be your host for today. Today we have a pretty interesting topic, one that I'm particularly excited to talk about, and something that I even have a few personal experiences directly, like just for a couple years ago in high school, I had a few experiences, and then even in my freshman year of college, I have some experience to share about mental health, which is the topic today. And May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and as we know, awareness is about keeping something at the forefront of your mind and just keeping it always in remembrance and not really allowing it to fall by the wayside, and instead to really value it and make sure that we're taking the time to see others that are dealing with it and take care of ourselves. So I'm going to start off this podcast by talking about ways to help yourself if you might be dealing with mental health issues, or if you might be dealing with stress or anything in regards to your mental that's keeping you down or keeping you from living the best life that you can. So the first way that you can help yourself is the National Alliance of Mental Illness actually has a helpline that you can call at any time. You can speak to someone, you can immediately get whatever you need to get off your chest. The number, I'm going to share the number right now. So get your notes ready if you need to, because this might be big. And you might also be able to share it with somebody else. So the number is 1-800-950-NAMI. 1-800-950-NAMI. So you call that anytime and you'll be able to speak to someone just immediately, just get some things out, whatever you need to do, whether you need to rant, anything, there's going to be somebody there to listen to you and help you. The second thing you can also do is, especially in this day and age, you can text. So you can text helpline, that's no spaces, helpline, capital H, capital L, helpline to 62640. And you can text as well to get somebody to talk to, you know. And I think that's a really, really big way to just live like in today's society. A lot of times we keep things bottled up. We allow things to fester and boil inside of us until things overflow. And that's really not good. That's really not healthy for you. And it can lead to you just as a very unhealthy way to cope with stress. So instead, talk to somebody about it, get it off your chest. That's huge. That's number one. The second thing that you can do is take breaks. That's a really, really, really important thing to do to make sure that you're maintaining your mental health. Just like the body needs breaks, the same way your mind needs breaks from whatever kind of mental activity you're doing. So if you have to write a 4-page research paper and you've been writing it all night, all day, it can be good to take an hour break. Like go for a run, go for a hike, go for a walk, do something, do a hobby, you know, get away from the computer screen for a little bit of time, get away from whatever is work for you, and just go into a place where you can just relax and just basically just be you. You know, that's a really important thing to do, and it allows the mind to like not constantly be under a barrage of just information that is just stressful to you. And I touched on it a little bit before, but exercise helps a lot. I talked about hiking, I talked about walking, I talked about those things, hobbies that can help you and with any stress. And I'm going to get into a little bit of data about that too. Short-term benefits of exercise. And this is data from the Mayo Clinic. It says it releases chemicals called endorphins and like dopamine into your brain, which is a pleasure chemical and can help you feel better. So it can help you in that way in the short term. And long term, it helps you gain more confidence. It helps you get more social interaction, which is huge in terms of just building yourself up. Just allowing yourself to have the time to talk to people, talk to friends, can really be huge in terms of building your self-confidence and your stamina to get back into your workspace and do well. And then also, it's just a healthy way to cope. You know, it's not anything that you have to take. It's not anything that you have to put into your body that could negatively impact you with side effects or anything. It's not medication or anything like that. It's something that is completely non-invasive and something that can just help you just get going. Just get out of your headspace and just like Go back to just being you. Okay, and the next thing I have is just talk to those who you trust about what's going on in your life. While I did talk about the helpline earlier, and that's a great tool, you should also have people in your life that you trust, that you're able to talk to, that you're able to go to for advice, that you're able to speak your mind to, that can help you and really care about you and care about you getting better. Whether that's a friend, whether that's family, whether that's your parents, whether that's someone that you grew up with all your life, or whether it's just someone that is a family member that you know is going to be there for you, that you know has your best interest at heart. Talking to someone about what's going on is one of the best things that you can do in your life. Like, trust me. Let me go back and let me talk about some of the ways that I know this for myself. Senior year, I actually had a panic attack over a lot of activities that were going on in my life. I was looking at my schedule, and I was the senior patrol leader for Boy Scouts at the time. I had all these prep items to get ready to present to my scoutmaster. I had practice later for baseball. I had to work on the tee. I had to work on throwing. I had basketball practice too. And I had all these essays that my AP classes were having me doing. I had 3 essays for AP. I had an essay for honors English. I had math that needed to be done. And I just was just thinking about all that at once, and it just became overwhelming to me. It just became so much that I just remember having shortness of breath. I remember just completely locking up, completely tensing up, because I was just overwhelmed mentally. Like, I could not handle it anymore. And I think it's really important for us to really learn from those experiences. And what I learned from that particularly was just, first off, the need to talk to other people. I was able to talk to my mom. I was able to talk to my dad about it and let them know that experience happened. That's something that you do not want to keep to yourself. If you enter into that place, if something like that has ever happened to you or does happen to you, you want to be in the space to where you can tell people about it, to where you can talk about it, because trying to get through that on your own is not healthy and it's not good for you. And it's okay to realize that you need help, man. And everybody needs help. Nobody gets through life with no support. That's a ridiculous ask of anyone. No one's asking you to do that. So go ahead and take what you have, take the help that you have, and go ahead and reach out to someone that can support you. And the next item I have is just don't have secrets or have a double life. I know us as teenagers, no, me especially as a teenager, as a young person, when I was 16, 15, 17, I had a lot of secrets. I had a lot of things I was trying to have on the side. I didn't want a lot of people to know. I didn't want my parents to know, because I thought that they might not approve. But in reality, having all this stuff buried down on the inside of you, having to always switch from place to place. Oh, I'm at school, I gotta act like this. Oh, I'm at this extracurricular, I gotta act like this. Oh, I'm at home, now I gotta be this. There's no way to maintain that. There's no physical possible way that you can maintain that and be in a good headspace. All it does is adds pressure to you, because you're never able to truly be who you are. So we're always putting on a facade, always putting on a mask. It's not healthy. And you gotta, in order to take care of your mental health, in order to really, really value yourself, you have to be who you are all the time, everywhere. And then the last thing I have for ways to help yourself is just don't attempt to fill the void with other people. A lot of times, when we're struggling and in our own mind, when we're struggling with what's going on in our life, when we're struggling and things just don't seem right, and we're sad, we're depressed. A lot of times we go to other people to whether that be a boyfriend, whether that be a girlfriend, we go to have these relationships, but a relationship isn't going to fix what's going on the inside, what's going on in your head. So instead, you can do some of the things that we talked about before. You can contact the helpline. You can get in touch with a therapist. You can talk to your friends, your family, and you can tell them the real problem instead of trying to fill it with something else, because that is just a patch fix. It's not going to last long term, and you could end up damaging the other person more while you're trying to fill a void on the inside. So that's what I wanted to share in regards to helping yourself. The second point of this entire conversation is ways to help others, because I know a lot of us, we have people in our lives that are struggling with mental health, and we want to know what we can do to help. What can we kind of how can I do it? I'm not struggling, but you might be saying, I'm not struggling, but I still want to be able to impact the lives of those who are, And the first thing I want to say is just pay attention. It's simple as that. Just pay attention. Really see people and see what they're going through, whether that be at the gym, whether that be in the classroom, whether that be at work. Make sure you're seeing people for what they're going through. Don't just pass through. Don't just do the old, hey, how you doing, but not really wait for a response. Let them know you're sincere. Look them in the eye and say, how are you doing? And wait for a response. And then see if they're actually okay, or if they might need somebody to talk to. If you notice something, just let them know, hey, I'm here to talk if you need something. Hey, I can help you if you want something. And just let them know that they're not alone. And let them know that you're someone that they can trust, that they can talk to get something off their chest if they need to, as we talked about in the first point. Next thing I want to talk about in ways to help others is just to share. If you can, just share your own experiences, what you've gone through, kind of like I did earlier, and I will continue to do. I have another thing to let you all know later in this pod, but just share and let them know that they're not alone. They're not the only ones who have gone through this specific thing, and that there are other people struggling with the same things too. There are other people who are suffering as well. So just to hear that, just to hear your experience, how you went through and how you survived, that can be a huge boost to someone else. Just hearing that and hearing how you got through it can encourage them. And the next thing I want to talk about, the National Alliance of Mental Illness actually has walks that they do all throughout the nation. And I'm actually trying to go to one when I go back to school in Florida, at University of South Florida. They have a walk, and I want to participate in that, and I'm going to walk that because it's a great way to show support for those dealing with mental illness, for those dealing and struggling with their mental health. And and what that does, the donations from that walk, they raise funds for the National Alliance of Mental Illnesses, mental health programs and initiatives. And it also helps with the helpline and the text chain. So anything that you can do, in terms of walk, or even just donations if you don't want to walk, that goes a long way too. Another thing that you can do is you can volunteer on the national helpline that NAMI has. If you can just volunteer just a little bit of your time to talk to people who just need to air things out, just as we talked about in the first part of this podcast, there still need people on the other side to listen. So if you're listening to this and you might not be the person that needs help, you could be the person to give help. It's just a circle of life, man, almost. And everybody has their own part, everybody has their own purpose, everybody has their own share to give to this effort, which is the national effort of mental health. Everyone has something to share. And I want to let y'all know something on the way out too. It's just a personal tip. I talked to y'all about the panic attack I had senior year and kind of how I got through that, man. But I've only had 2 panic attacks my whole life, bro. And the last one was freshman year in the cafeteria. I had a panic attack, and that was probably one of the worst feelings ever. It's just that moment. It's just having to rush out of the caf and go to the garden and just breathe. But it's just another just example of how you're not on your own. That stuff happens and it's completely normal. And when you're in a new environment, when you're dealing with new stimulants around you, when you're just faced with challenges that you haven't been faced with before, it's something that can happen. But one of the key things is just being able to take dominion over your life. Okay, so that's the same thing that I did with that last panic attack. I had to do with the first one, which is removing some extracurriculars that were hindering me from doing the schoolwork that I needed to do from feeling confident and comfortable with my calendar, on a day-to-day basis. So I had to take Boy Scouts out of my life so I could focus on baseball, so I could focus on my AP classes. And the same thing, it might be the same thing that you have to do for your own mental health. I mean, we live in an age where it's not uncommon to hear about people dealing with it. You see athletes now coming out saying that they're stepping out due to mental health. I think a few famous tennis players have done that. A few famous basketball players have done that just in times past. I'm not gonna name any names because I don't want to be off base, but we live in a time where it's not uncommon, and people will understand if you just talk to someone and you listen. I think that's the key. That's the main part. That's the main point. If you don't get anything else from this podcast, I want you to get You can talk to someone if you're struggling, and you need to be able to pay attention to someone else. If you're not struggling, in order to help, you need to be aware of your surroundings. You need to be keyed in. You need to be tuned in. So that's it. That's all I have for today, man. I thank you guys so much for listening. And remember, as always, you can check out more resources for mental health at YHELPnow.com. And remember to follow YHELP on all social media platforms. And also, you can check out this episode and others of the YHELP podcast on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever else you listen to your podcast. That's it, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Let the YHELPful Podcast be your compass to growing up. For more information, follow us at YHELPnow on all social media platforms and check us out at YHELPnow.com for mental health and life skill resources. Tune into the
YHELPful Podcast!
And we hope to be YHELPful.